Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So a part of me just felt like, why not share some information about Russia so that I can help somebody out there who is eager to know what life on the other half part of the world is really like. So this leads to today's topic, which is what I thought about Russia before coming here versus what Russia is actually like. So if you're interested, then grab yourself some cup of tea or coffee and let me break this down for you. Stay tuned. For some reason, I found myself being so ignorant before I came to Russia. So in my mind, the first thing that I actually thought about Russia was that since Russia is a European country, I thought that people in Russia, they speak English. So the funniest part of it is that I actually processed all my papers and everything without knowing the language that I was gonna be using when I go to Russia. But fortunately enough, when I was like in the middle of processing my papers, that's when I then realized like, oh girl, in Russia people don't speak English, people they speak Russian. So that's when I knew that I had to learn Russian for a period of about 10 to a whole year. And I was like, oh wow, because I actually didn't know that and I didn't research or whatsoever. I don't know why, but I found myself being so ignorant and didn't research anything. There was nothing that I could do about it because already I had done a lot, so I just accepted it. And yeah, so the second thing that I thought about Russia before coming here is that it was going to be always cold in Russia. So in my mind, I didn't imagine any summertime or whatsoever. All I could think about was just snow, snow, and snow throughout the whole year. So I remember before coming here, when we were doing the packing and everything, everyone was just so concerned, making sure that I have all the warm clothes and all the warm stuff that I needed. So I actually left some of my beloved clothes, if you don't know, because my mom was like, where are you taking those clothes? You're not going to wear them anywhere because where you're going, it's going to be really cold. So the day I left home, everything was really okay. I was well dressed and it was okay. Like the way I was dressed and the way that they were like okay, they were like best friends, they were just cool with each other. But the moment that we were about to reach the Moscow airport here in Russia, I saw people starting to prepare, like they were now dressing themselves up for the weather that was going to be outside the plane. And when I saw people dressing up, I also did the same thing. But to my surprise, I found myself overly dressed when I got out of the plane because it wasn't that cold. It was actually warm. That's when I realized like, oh, it's actually going to be somehow warm. And there's also summer in Russia, and this summer can be warm. Like you can get temperatures of about 27 to 30 degrees. Sometimes you actually feel like we are in Africa. So the third thing that I thought about Russia before coming here is that since we are going to Europe, all I could think is that people here in Russia, there are people who live in those big houses. I could only see people living in mansions and beautiful big houses. But when I got here, I actually found out that people actually have a different way of living in terms of their houses and everything. It's totally different from the way people live in Africa. Because in Africa, it's like everyone owns his or her own house for the reason that Russia is the biggest country in the world. And the fact that it's not only a European country, but actually one part of it is in Europe and the other part of it is in Asia. So a lot of people like to live on the European side of Russia. because that's where the capital city of Russia is located, and other big cities as well. They are mostly located on the European side of Russia. So for them to accommodate everyone, since it's a big country and it has got a big population, they had to find a way that will suit everyone. So people live in apartments, and these apartments, they are located inside a big building. So it's like they've got a very big building, and inside that building it's divided into different apartments, and inside that apartment it's actually like a normal house. It's everything inside: a bedroom, a kitchen, a dining room, and everything that you find in a normal house. But it's only the fact that it wasn't built on the ground, but it's inside the building. So this is similar to flats in Africa. The way that people in flats live is also the same way that people here in Russia live. So if you had to ask a Russian person, where do you stay or where's your house, they will tell you that my house is on the 3rd floor of that building, apartment number 13 or whatsoever. That's how they live. But this is not always the case. In other places, people do have their own individual houses, but here most of the houses, they are beautiful houses, but they are also wooden houses. But you can also find other houses which are made of bricks. It's not always the same. This is just from what I've seen in the places that I've gone to. So the other thing that I thought about Russia before I came here is that, you know, in Africa, when people see a white person, the way they react to that person is really amazing. There are people who are so excited. They see this person as if they've seen a princess or something like that. So you find a lot of people wanting to say hi, hello, what. They say a lot of things because of excitement. They really seem so excited to see a white person. And to my mind, I thought those things, they only happen to Africa. But to my surprise, it's actually the same thing as here in Russia. So that's when I realized that it really doesn't matter what you look like or your skin color or whatsoever. As long as you are just different, when people have never seen a person like that, they're always going to be excited and they're going to react in a different way. So it also happens to us Africans. It happens every day, and you see people looking at you so much that you'll be like, but yeah, it happens everywhere. The other thing that I thought about Russia before coming here is the issue of racism. So people at home and friends, they were really concerned about this issue, and they were asking me, you're going to Russia, do you know that there is racism in Russia? And I was like, because I didn't know how to react to that, because I've never seen racism in Africa or anything like that. So I couldn't really relate to it. That kept me going, and I wasn't really scared. But a small part of me was still scared that I'm going to a country where people say there's racism and stuff and all those kind of things. But you actually be so surprised to know that I've never experienced any racism act towards me. Yet I actually had a whole year where I was the only African person in my class, and in that class there was never a day where I felt like I was different or people were looking down upon me or anything. It never happened. It was like just when I'm going to an African. Even now we are only 2 Africans in my class, but it's still the same. No one does anything that seems to be like racism or whatsoever. But this may be different with someone else, and also I'm not saying that it's like 100% like that. I'm just saying on average, a lot of people here, they are not racist. So these are the things that I thought about Russia before I came here versus the truth of what Russia is actually like. So if you find this interesting, then don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, bye.